tanto jugando suelto como en competición. Tanto si se trata de un rápido 9 hoyos o de un gran 36. Tanto si juegas bajo presión o arrasando, siempre das lo mejor de ti. Nuevo Fuel de FootJoy.
Stand up here all day.
All right. Good morning. Welcome back to the 2022 PGA Championship here at Southern Hills Country Club, Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are joined by two-time major champion, Dustin Johnson. Dustin, thanks for being with us, first of all. Would like to ask you, this seems to be a golf course where length is pretty darn important. You have length from what I understand, and how do you think that your game fits within this golf course?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I saw it, first time I saw it was Monday, and then played some holes yesterday. The golf course, obviously, it's in really good shape. It's definitely, it plays long. Depending on, obviously, they can move some tees around, but if you play it all the way back, it's it's a long golf course, and you're hitting a lot of mid to long irons. Par threes are difficult, so you're definitely going to have to be on your game, especially. Fairways are fairly generous, but you need to drive it in the fairways, because it's really difficult to control the ball coming out of the rough. But yeah, I mean, it's small greens, coming in with long irons is you gotta be controlling the golf ball, so you got to be in the fairway.
What was the reputation? No, not as many players in the field have been here. It's been 15 years since the last major. How did the look and feel of it go compared to what you'd heard about through the years?
I mean, I think it's similar to what the guys were saying about it. So, good golf course is tough. Obviously the last time I was here was in August, so everyone talked about how hot it was for the most part. But, this week I think, going to have nice temperatures, obviously going to cool off over the weekend. But, the first 2 days will be nice and warm, so ball will go far. And then, on the weekend it's, going to cool down, and, ball's not going to go as far. Of course, you're going to play a little bit longer.
All right, let's hit the floor for some questions. Right behind me, number 7, please.
From what you've seen so far, what are the most intriguing holes or most interesting holes to you?
I mean, they're all good. I mean, but you got the par threes are difficult. So if you can play the par threes well, I feel like there's some holes where obviously you can make some birdies, and then obviously there's some really long par fours depending on wind directions. How long are they going to play, but yeah, I mean there's quite a few good holes. As far as knowing the exact number of, I've only played the course once, so I know all the holes, and I feel like I've got a pretty good beat on them, but it's tough to reel them off by number.
You know number 1 is?
Number 1, yes, I do know number 1 is.
Do you remember 17?
Downhill, par 4, pretty straight.
Excellent, great. Do you remember 17 at all?
17, yes, I do.
Did you go up at all on a tee?
Yeah, I hit one from the up tee.
What'd you do there?
I hit a 3-wood left of the green.
What do you think of that as a?
I mean, yeah, it definitely could be. It's a tee where you can move it. Where they can move it up and probably will move it up and be drivable. I mean, the green's, small. It's really narrow. I guess the depth is not. It's not much depth in it, and it's got a lot of slope. So depending on where they put the pin, there's spots where you can hit it where you'll be able to get up and down, but actually hitting it on the green, you're gonna have to hit a really good shot to hit it on the green.
Kind of a general question that comes up about you with fans is, why haven't you won lately? I'm sure you're probably sick of hearing it, but if you had to put your finger on that answer and make it a long one, what would it be?
I mean, there's a lot of things I think it could be. I feel like just haven't been consistent enough, especially, last year I felt like, I was, struggling to get a driver that I really liked. I think now I finally got one that I like. I'm hitting it, driving it a little bit better. Last week I drove it pretty well. for the most part, never hit any, balls like really offline. My misses were still were in play, and so I think the biggest thing for me has just been driving. Just hadn't been driving as well as I'd like to. When especially if I'm, if I go back even to the Masters where I played fairly well, but almost even there I was struggling with the driver, and a few of the days like I preferred to hit 3-wood off the tee, which is throughout my whole career I've never done that in my life. 3-wood's the last club in my bag that I'd want to hit. I'd hit driver or 3-iron off the tee before I'd hit a 3-wood, just because I don't know, that's what I prefer, and I've always felt most comfortable with a driver. But it's starting to, I'm starting to see a lot of consistency with the driver, driving a little bit straighter, and so I think that's the biggest key, just not having the confidence in the driver that I did for a long time, but it's getting back. So, and obviously this is a really good place to drive it straight for me.
Lastly,
Follow up.
and when you have you done some chipping from around the greens, assuming you're not going to hit all 18 every day?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you hit all 18 greens, that'll be some kind of feat there, because it'd be, I think it's almost nearly impossible to hit all 18. But yes, I've definitely done a lot of chipping around the greens.
What kind of chipping are you doing? Are you throwing it up or keeping it down?
I mean, kind of depends on the lie. You can get some good lies where you can, use a 60 and, kind of hit it in the air with a little bit of spin. Or, you get some uphill into the grain ones where, 60, you can hit it, but you got to play it low. Yeah. Kind of back of the stance. Or, I've been using like my sand wedge a lot, or 54, just because I can catch it more consistently solid. And so, using that a lot. But yeah, just chipping around here is tricky, especially because a lot of the greens where if you miss them, it kind of runs off down to the bottom. And, so it makes for a difficult chip, especially if you're short-sighted.
Wow.
So DJ, in connection with what you were saying about changing clubs or adjustments or changing strategies, is that like maybe a new phase in your game, and you just need to get there and adjust to playing golf in a different way, maybe? Or?
No, I like to, obviously throughout my career I've been a really good driver of the golf ball, and it's been kind of one of my, obviously, one of my better attributes, I guess, as a golfer. So getting back to where I'm really comfortable hitting the driver and driving it well is, that's part of my game. And, I'm definitely, seeing that now. Like I said, I, drove it well last week, and then, throughout the couple of days of practice here, I've been driving it good. So, but yeah, that's something for me is, I have to drive it well if I want to play well.
And would you say like driving the ball well is a big factor in PGA Championship, like a common denominator, if you think about it?
It's a big factor in any championship.
So, I mean, for the PGA, is there a denominator? Is like longer?
Yeah, I mean, to win a major, especially a PGA Championship, everything in your game has to be working well. You can't just drive it well. I mean, especially a golf course like this, you got a lot of, mid to long irons. You get a few wedges, and there's some short holes where you can make some birdies, but you still have to be firing on all cylinders, especially with these greens. There's a lot of they're small, but they're undulated. You're gonna have a lot of pins on top of slopes, so you got to be coming out of the fairway so you can control the spin and control the golf ball.
So we had the two captains here this morning. I mean, they were all talking about what happened in Whistling Straits and kind of what's going to happen in Rome, no? So in your case, I wonder if that bromance that happened in Whistling Straits is still carry on, or is stopped with the wedding, or I mean.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously Whistling Straits was great. We have our team. Obviously, there's kind of a younger generation, and of really good players, and it was weird for me being the oldest guy on the team, where every team I've been on, I've felt like I was one of the younger guys. So it was a little different dynamic. I liked it though, and obviously the team, everyone there, played well, and it was a great week.
Okay.
going to wrap it up here with Doug too.
In terms of you being someone that the Saudi group is very interested in, and you made your statements and things like that in February. I'm just curious now, as a player. I mean, there's been some talk about golf being at a very critical crossroads. How do you see it shaking out?
I mean, I think golf is in a good spot, and I think what they're doing is, I mean, could potentially be good for the game of golf. So I'm excited to see what happens here in a few weeks.
Excited meaning?
I'll be watching.
Along those lines, is there any part of you, and again, as a member of the golf elite and all that good stuff, of where you're going to see Phil next, or what's going to happen next?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Phil's one of the greats of the game, so I was hoping to see him here this week, but I haven't talked to him, so I really don't know when we'll see him again.
And for a guy who apparently never gets distracted by anything except these interviews, what was the greater distraction? Any contact and thinking about the Saudis or your wedding?
Neither. I mean, Paulina did, an unbelievable job with the wedding. I really didn't have to do much. I helped for about half an hour with the seating chart. That was about it. That was my whole contribution to the wedding.
Was that difficult, the seating chart?
Kind of. It is kind of difficult.
What was the hard part?
Well, just putting people at tables. Like, who do you want to sit together? I don't know.
And you brought 2 tuxes to the wedding. There's a picture of you in a black tux and a white tux.
I wore
that.
3 suits.
3?
Well, one Thursday, one Friday, and one Saturday.
Okay. That's all I got.
11 quality minutes with Dustin. Thank you, sir.
You brought your A game.
That's like a record. Yeah. We owe you next year. We'll owe you 4 minutes back.
El nuevo Pro SL no tiene clavos, pero tiene un agarre increíble. Con una plancha de carbono adicional para optimizar el retorno de energía y un nuevo y moderno diseño, el zapato original de máximo rendimiento sin clavos tiene algunas ventajas importantes.